welcome everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Chrissy. Today I'll be giving you a prediction reading for the 30th of October. Now, if you're new here, please subscribe. We've been running a few little competitions just before we get started. I just want to mention to you guys, we came up with a name for conspiracy theorists. If you have just tapped on, instead of using the word conspiracy theorists, we decided to change our name. We had a vote and we are now known as the BS detectors, which means the bullshit detectors. Which is very appropriate. So thank you for all you guys and all your contributions to that list of names. We finally narrowed it down. So now we've got another one going for the people, actually for the name of my book. I often talk here on my channel about the COVID agenda story, and in years to come people will be telling their children this story about the mean men who tried to take over the world, and women as well who tried to take over the world. And we're kind of rewriting that book because we're more focused on the Great Awakening process. So we kind of needed a name for this book because I didn't really know what to call it, and it does come up a lot in my readings. So I've got some great feedback, guys, from you guys. So I'm just going to whiz through a few. So make sure you have your votes, and if you've got any new ones, please keep them coming in. I'll quickly go through the list. This is for the new book that we're all rewriting history. The Brave Hearts Fight for Freedom, The Brave Hearts in Terrabella, Living in the Clown World Part 1. I like the Part 1 there. Just Terrabella, The Visionaries by the BS Detectors, Journey to Terrabella. I love that one. That's great. The Road to Terrabella, another good one. And I love this too. Terrabella, an eye-opening view from behind Wilson's fence. I love that. If you're new here, Wilson's fence, I often talk about us looking out from behind the fence. That's off Tool Time, the show Tool Time. Some of you might remember that. You never actually see his identity. He's always protected by the fence. And Terrabella, Our Journey to Freedom, and The Bravehearts Battle to Terrabella. So there's a few ideas there. If you've got any more, please keep them coming in. I won't finalize this till probably during the week, but they're just some ideas for this book so that it makes it easier for me when I'm talking about these things. I can just condense it down. We had another one going as well. If anyone's got any ideas as well for the people waking up, I always call them the people waking up, which is a bit of a mouthful. And like I keep saying, you guys know how fast I talk being an Aussie. So here's some of the suggestions. If you've got any more, keep them coming as well, and then we'll narrow that list down. The people waking up. I got buds, meaning as in flower buds, so they'll bloom like us. They'll eventually come into their full bloom. So buds, which is very cute. I love flowers too, so you must have known out there. The castaways was a good one. Baby detectors, or budding BS detectors, which is getting back to the buds again, meaning coming into your bloom. I like this one too, the snooze crew. You guys are great. You're so imaginative. And sleepers. Absolutely love sleepers. I think that was you, American Madman, wasn't it? Sleepers. I just get this vision of zombies walking around, which is pretty much a great description. Awakers. Waking Brothers and Sisters. Rising Warriors is a good one too. And I also got the Drifters, because it's like they're drifting around in a boat and they're really quite lost at the moment. It says they're just drifting around. So I got that. So if you've got any more of those, please keep them coming in. I'll keep adding to our lists, and then we'll during the week we'll come up with the final one, which is the most popular and gets the most votes. Because it does help me when I'm talking to just have like one word rather than a big mouthful of words all the time, because I can see that we're going to keep talking about this book moving forward, and the people waking up are definitely playing a huge part in the current events, aren't they? All right, enough of that. Now let's get started. I'll close my eyes and we'll see what predictions come up for the 30th of October. God, they're showing me London Bridge has fallen. It's like flopped already. Oh no, don't tell me we're going to have another thing happening with sushi. I am getting that. It's like, yesterday I was talking about the bridge was like hinged. And it's funny, you know, because last night I flicked the news on and they were talking about his religion. It was playing a very, very big part at the moment because everyone's talking about how he's bringing the Asian kind of element. Well, he's Indian, isn't he? But there's this, is it Euro-Asian? They have this special name for them. And he's bringing that element and the people are very happy over there. But I'm kind of getting the bridges like going downwards. It's like tilting downwards. I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking in London, when the bridge, instead of the bridge drawing up, which we know it's going to eventually, I'm getting the bridge like sinking. It's like, but it's dropping. And this is like the weight on it. It's like there's too many people on the bridge. That's the image I'm getting. It's starting to sag in the middle. So there's too many people at the moment. Hang on a sec. Let me just see what this means. I kind of, hang on a minute. They're showing me Sushi and he's surfing like on the waves. They're showing me he's surfing on the waves and he might be going to get a wipeout. Hang on a minute. Sushi's gonna get shaken back into reality. Something's gonna happen with Sushi. That's Sunak. If you're new here, I do use Sushi a lot instead of his real name, just for fact-checking purposes moving forward. I'm getting that he's riding these waves, but everything's just getting too heavy on the London Bridge. This is in England. So he's gonna fall off his surfboard and he's gonna take a tumble. I don't think it's going to be public though. I feel like it's going to be hidden from the people. And this could be around a lot of issues. Like I said, they've been really focusing a little bit on his religion and his culture. They were even comparing him to like Obama getting in America. These are the kind of things they were comparing it to, like this is a very major thing, which perhaps it is actually. I'm not saying it isn't. But all I could think of when I was watching this was, hang on a minute, isn't he just a person? Aren't we past all this? Like, why are we not past all this? But they're making a big deal of it. Like, to us, he's just Sushi. I'm sure if you're watching my channel, he's just a bloke that got in. But they're still pushing this. It's such a, they're making this a bigger deal than what it is. And if they keep doing that, it's going to cause the bridge to collapse. So I feel like Sushi's going to have to, well, he's not going to have to, he's going to fall off his surfboard. They're showing him riding the waves, but he's going to fall off the surfboard. Now, this is internally, I don't think we're going to see this. It's going to happen behind closed doors. And he's going to have to sort of get up, shake himself off, and get on with the show. That's what's going to happen to Sushi. That's what I'm getting. Yeah. See, there's no reason for them to be focusing on him being this Euro-Asian or whatever they're calling him. There's some name they're calling him. We should just be people. Like, we should just be people. If we're all equivalent, why are they still separating people? They're still doing it. They're very clever in their madness, aren't they? Their agenda rollouts. They know how to separate and divide people. Remember I was telling you here the other day, and that just come into my mind now, not to confuse you, but I was telling you about the netball girls here in Australia who didn't want Gina Reinhart, the big billionaire mining guru woman, to donate. She was donating like some crazy amount. Was it 15 million? I don't even remember, but it was a huge amount. And they were all up in arms about it because the Indigenous girl spoke up and said that this Gina Rinehart's father had been racial against them. This was way back in like a million years ago. He's dead now. He's not even alive. But they were still holding these grudges. And then the next week, the other day, I saw that they'd put this Indigenous girl, well, meanwhile, Gina Reinhart deleted the funding because she just thought they were being disrespectful to her, which they were. And they put this girl on a pedestal then. She got a goal in the netball game and it must have won it for them or something. And she was like built up on this pedestal. So they rewarded her bad behaviour. Now, there was probably a lot of other girls in that team that didn't have her viewpoint. But for some reason, they ended up putting this girl on a giant pedestal on the ABC News here. And they rewarded bad behaviour. It's just, what is this world coming to? That's just an example. I had to follow that up and just let you guys know sort of what's going on. Again, the spotlight was put on the race again. Now, we should be past all of this, but it's these global leaders, and this is my point, that are putting the spotlight on the races again. They're separating and dividing. It's happening very, very strong here in Australia. So I think in England, that's why we're getting that there's too many people on the bridge. And it's not going to go down well if Sushi keeps riding that wave. He's going to have to get off it and just come back to being like talking about everyday people. Because at the moment there's too much highlight on his culture and religion, and it's causing that segregation, and it's making people uncomfortable. That's why we're kind of getting that too many people on the bridge energy. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Oh, and by the way, yes, in the budget, they're taking away, this is in Australia, I told you we were getting our budget the other day, just to give you guys a clue how we're going over here, and they're taking away heaps of funding from the hospitals. Yes, they are. And the ABC, who lies and gives false information and hides everything and doesn't ever tell the truth, got a huge, yes, they got a huge lot of funding poured into them, yes. And that's, of course, where I saw the netball story, of course. So they've got a huge amount of money coming to them from government. So what chance have we got when the media is being like paid to put the government's agenda on virtually? This is just what's happening in Australia. Sorry, sometimes I just get off on a tangent because things come to me. Well, getting back to Sushi, that's what I'm feeling. He's riding the waves now, but he's going to fall off his surfboard and he's going to have to like pick his board up, walk back to shore and start redoing this differently. As much as he's a clever man, he's got to stop riding the wave of culture because it's getting a lot of other people offside. So you've got to be neutral. And I'm not saying he's all doing that because we know the media is doing a lot of this. Gosh, even in the interviews I saw, they were interviewing people that were of that race, you know. And they were like saying how it was this big thing like Obama getting into America. And look, that was a huge deal. I know it was. I'm not saying these things aren't big deals. But also, if we're not trying to separate people, why are we highlighting all this kind of stuff is the point that I'm getting to, because it causes separation. We know it here. Let's see where else we go today. Hang on a sec. I'm getting America and Russia. I know, is it you, Nicole? A few of you have been asking here about America and Russia. I feel like the US is kind of climbing its way up the ladder. We know it's not Biden climbing his way up the ladder, that's for sure. Oh, he's just getting worse, isn't he, guys, over there? Oh, my goodness. But I do feel like America would love to be on that level of Russia again, because we know they're not at the moment. See, that's the false illusion that America, not Americans, but the American government think they're right up there with Russia, that they have all this control and power in the world. But like I've been saying to you on here for probably the last 6 months or a year, America's really dropped down now in their power, global power. They're not seen as one of the powerful countries. I think maybe when Trump was in, this is just my opinion, living in Australia, I don't see it the way you guys do. It's probably different. We all get fed different information. You had a lot more power, even when Ronald Reagan, you think of JFK, all these kind of, this is what comes into my mind. They had a lot of power in the world stage. Well, I'm getting that. They want that again. And maybe this is the people too, but it's also the government wants to be up there with Russia, because we all know Russia at the moment, let's face it, they've got a lot of power. Well, do they? We don't really know. We only get fed what they tell us on TV. We don't know the half of it. I try not to talk about the war on here. I don't think it's something that is of great interest to a lot of my viewers, and that's probably why I don't go there. But I do feel like America is going to try and regain that strength and that power. Well, we know who's at the very, very top, pretty much. They're showing me China. Yep, China's right at the top. They're giving me the old pyramid shape. China's right at the top. But see, China's very clever because they do everything by stealth. They just buy things and gobble everything up, like all the islands they're gobbling up, and they're just taking over slowly in the background. China's a very, very powerful country. That's what I'm getting. Let's see where else we go today. I'm getting New Zealand. People in New Zealand are very downtrodden now. They absolutely had enough. They've had enough. I would say there's a lot of BS detectors that are really coming in strong now. Their movement's really growing over there. There's a lot more of them. What was once little movements is now really growing. It's like it's showing me the freedom fighters and the brave hearts and all that are really exploding en masse. These groups are really coming together to try and create fight backs. So this could be happening in the background. You may not be seeing that. We know you're not going to see it on mainstream media. But I am getting big fight backs now. I am. That's what I'm getting for New Zealand. People are tired of it. Like I said, she's trying to stomp out a lot of your traditions over there. She makes out she's all into it. But as we all know here, if they roll out their agenda, you're going to lose a lot of those traditions. Let's see where else we go. God, for some reason I'm getting Brisbane, which is in Queensland, Australia, which is the capital city of Queensland, which is up north from me. I used to live in Queensland. I know I've got a few of you that watch from Queensland. I'm getting Brisbane for some reason. I would say that Brisbane's starting to change its infrastructure. There's a lot going on in Brisbane. There's a lot of this like taking down and rebuilding back up. We talked about that yesterday. Where did I talk about that? New York? Somewhere like that. There's the taking down and building back up, taking down and building back up. The infrastructures are starting to change. There's a lot more, this is Brisbane, possibly New York too, a lot more monitoring now. There's going to be a lot more monitoring starting in capital cities. So I feel like her name is Anastasia Palaszczuk up there. I call her Palachuk. So that's my nickname, if anyone's wondering what I'm talking about. I call her Palachuk. She's the Premier of Queensland. I'm getting that for Brisbane. She's really riding the, not riding, she's climbing the ladder of success. We know that all these leaders, and this is globally, are all trying to compete and outdo each other and climb the ladder of success. I think anyone who lives in Queensland and has seen Palachuk, she's had a bit of a transformation over the last few years to make herself kind of look different. She's gone from the sort of dark hair, now she's got the blonde locks, and she's completely like transforming. Now that she's on the world stage as well, she's starting to move herself up there. She's even creating a lot of renewables, hydro schemes and things like this kind of thing, looking at the energy and how they're going to move forward. So I'm getting Brisbane is definitely having a lot of these breakdowns and the infrastructure's being rebuilt to suit the planet. Everything's to suit the planet and improve everything. Let me see if there's something else today. I'm getting America again. I'm getting America the Brave. Oh, I know there's a lot of you brave hearts over there. Americans are quite brave. They really are. Look, yesterday I talked about the Dumb and Dumber movie, didn't I? And we were talking about Trudeau and that. But look, we have to look at Biden from a really realistic perspective. He's even beyond the Dumber and Dumber movie now. Because it's not even funny comedy anymore, is it? This is like getting like quite sick and disturbed. Like, how can this be happening? Someone's in that massive cognitive decline and everyone's just covering it up. Like, what is really going on? I think that's the question you guys in America have, plus everybody else. I know anyone else, Canada or all surrounding areas. What the hell is happening here? Who is running the show? And I think that's the frustrating part of all this. We know he's not running the show. I always talk about maybe there's two of them because one speaks really well and the other one doesn't speak so well. So, And it's all gone very quiet with the Hunter Biden laptop event as well, hasn't it? So it's kind of like just, sadly, what I'm getting, and this is where I'm saying it's beyond the Dumb and Dumber show movie now, is that they're treating people with absolute contempt. They just don't care about the little people. It's like they're totally insignificant. It's like I said the other day about the voodoo dolls, the people as the voodoo dolls. They're just doing whatever they want to them. You know, they're just making a laughing stock of the people in America. And that's what I'm honestly feeling. So I do have empathy for you guys out there, because I know it's not your fault. You're stuck in this ridiculous situation. I can't even imagine someone making your worldly decisions. And you want to know who's really making the decisions in the background. Who are these people? We know it runs a long way back. All of us are pretty switched on to that. But there's got to be someone just behind in the wings that's kind of yelling out the messages. You know, it's like, oh, say this and say that. Like, who are these people? I think that's what America wants to know. Who are the people? Americans are stuffed from all this. They're tired. They've had an effing gutful, is what I'm getting for America. Oh my goodness. It's just getting crazy, it is. But that's what I'm getting for America. They want to know who's really running their country now, because they know it's not Biden. Let me see if there's something else today. Gosh, it's interesting, isn't it? I'm getting the windows of change. Now, sometimes on this channel, I talk about the window was propped open, so information could get out and people could climb out the window and escape in general. And now I'm getting the windows changing. So this before was a window with square panels and the wood running between, I don't know what you call them. There's a name for them. And it was an old-fashioned like farmhouse kind of window. But now I'm getting the windows being changed to like this really big, fresh aluminium window with a completely clear view. This is what I'm getting around the agenda. It's becoming a lot clearer to people. And this is probably the people waking up, or whatever we're going to call them. They're getting a much clearer view. And the window's still open. They're still... Because these people are tired. They're tired of what they're being hit with. They don't even know what's going on. Can you imagine not even knowing what's going on and you're getting hit from every angle? See, we see it and we can put it under the reset umbrella. And we know, yeah, this, and this is going to happen. But these people can't piece it together. So they're still tight. But now they're starting to see it. The window has changed. It's been... the old window's been taken out and the new window's been put in. And there's much more clarity for people to see their future, I guess, coming towards them is probably the way I would put it. Hang on a minute. I am getting that England's fighting back. I am. There must be protests over there. There has to be. People are fighting back about the cost of living. It's got to be the cost of living. Renewables is just like an afterthought to most people because they can't even get their head around that. You know, they can't even pay their electricity bills. How are they going to charge up a friggin' electric car? See, no logic. And this is what people are seeing now, not us. We're sitting back and thinking this is just ridiculous, like comedy show as usual, the clown show. But these people are trying to work out how they're going to charge up an electric car. How much does it cost to charge? See, they're not being given the detail. And this is in England because you're getting kind of hit with the waves now. You're not being given the information of like, how much is that going to cost? We know. See, like I told you here, my sister had a Tesla and she's quite wealthy. And it was the servicing that cost her a fortune. Little parts and this and that was $10,000. It is expensive to service an electric vehicle. And in years to come, they might improve that. But at the moment, you know, these are the questions people are asking. And I'm getting that for England because there's too many waves coming at them at the moment. But they're starting to see it now. Like, how am I going to do this? If I can't put my heater on, how can I can't have an electric car. Oh my gosh. And we know that, is it Europe? They've put deadlines on you guys. I think it's 2035, is it? That they're not going to be selling any more cars or something like that in unleaded and diesel and all that same old. But that could change in 5 minutes too, couldn't we? Doesn't mean these things are set in concrete. They just do all this, as we know here, to put fear in people. It's just the same old story, just a different chapter, isn't it? Let me see if there's something else to close with today. God, it's showing me these people waking up and they're reading, I always talk about the COVID agenda storybook. They're reading the COVID agenda storybook and tears are dripping down their face onto the book. There's this deep, deep sadness. And I often talk about that grief of people losing their old lives. We talked about the hearse the other day, driving through England and London and the streets, and their old lives were disappearing. Well, now they're starting to read the COVID agenda story and the tears are dripping down their faces because people realise that their lives are coming to an end as they knew them, that is. Well, some might be coming to an end, sadly, because we don't know what they've been jabbed with, do they? But they're also starting to realise, hang on, what future is this for my kids? Now, this is the stuff that all of us, you watching my channel, stood up and fought for in the very beginning, because we knew this was always about freedoms. This was never about a virus. It was never about protecting the elderly and all working together to help each other. It was never about any of that. This has always been about controlling the people, and for the elites to be making all the money and having all the freedom and all the fun, and for all the little people and peasants to be just wiped out and pretty much being the slaves. That's pretty much the image. So these people are now realising that there's not much future in this COVID agenda story for their children. No one can afford to buy a house. How are their kids going to save money? You can't even rent a house pretty much here in Australia. It's so expensive, and the queues are like a zillion people, and you're flat out even getting one. I mean, I remember when we were young, and a lot of you guys probably do, back in the 80s, you could just go and rent all the time. I was in and out of home all the time, just renting, share houses, all this kind of thing. Now, all that's kind of gone now. So people don't have their freedom. And all these people are getting this real grief and sadness, and it's showing me the tears dripping down onto the COVID agenda book, because now they're realising what is happening. Their lives are being taken over. Yes, not all, but a hell of a lot are starting to research and realise what's going on. So that's what I'm getting. There's that grief of their old life. And I would say, to be honest, a lot of them have probably moved through the anger now. We talked about that a lot a few months ago. But now it's that real sadness, because they're going to hit that real place of just feeling destitute and broke. It's so sad, isn't it? And as we're coming towards Christmas, they're still putting interest rates and everything up here in Australia. I know it's happening where you guys are as well. Hang on, let's see what else we've got. God, I'm getting Canada. Canada's getting a real pushback. You guys are pushing back against government. It's showing me that wave of people pushing back against government. And I know that's not easy for you guys in Canada. It's very hard to stand up against Trudeau and his plebs and fight back, but I am getting there's fight back. Now, this could be strikes. Like I always say to you, a lot of people don't know how to fight back, but strikes is like a safe way of doing it, because it removes the direct attack on the government. It brings in the mediators of the unions and these kind of things. So government doesn't feel as attacked. They still feel like they're sort of in control. So I am getting that pushback, which could be strikes. I don't know if you've got any going on over there in Quebec, Canada. Let me know, guys, if there's anything happening, because I do feel there's that people really pushing. And they're pushing, but it feels resistant. Like it's very hard for them to push back. It's not easy to push back. We know that in Canada, don't we? Oh my gosh, because there's always that fear in people of what could happen to them. Are they going to freeze our bank accounts? What are they going to do to us? Stumble on us with horses? You know, we all know what happened. But I am getting, they're trying to do it in safe ways. And yes, did I let you guys know the new variant has arrived here in Australia? Is it BXX or something ridiculous? Yes, we've got the new COVID variant. So that's going to just bring everybody back up into, fear. Better get their jabs, hey, because there's a new variant in the shores of Australia. Isn't that brilliant? Oh my God, I tell you, I'm so over this. I know you guys are as well. Did anyone see, and it's very strange, Did you see that Halloween stampede? Was it in Korea? There was something very strange about that. I got a really strange feeling about that. There was like 120 people died. They were stampeded on. Sometimes we talk here, I know, about these 5G networks and the towers and when they're switching things on, how it can cause people to react. And sometimes I do question these things. I could be wrong. It's just a gut feeling that I get sometimes about things. But you do have to wonder how something like that, it was just a Halloween like fun event. Everyone was out in the streets and suddenly there's 120 people dead in this mass stampede and chaos. Like, how do these things happen? I know they can, but that's really weird. Anyway, I just wondered if any of you had any viewpoints on some of these strange events that are going on around the world. Let me see if there's something to close with today. Oh no. They're giving me this visual of people with a shopping trolley, that people are going shopping now like with a calculator. Like, and that's just an image. They're not probably literal. They could. They're on their smartphones, aren't they? They've got their calculators. So I am getting this image of people are having to really budget now. They're really calculating what things are adding up to because they don't want to get to the checkout and not think they've got enough money. So this is becoming very, very stressful for people now. Gosh, I know I buy a lot of the specials. I never used to worry too much about things like that. But now I look, if there's a dishwashing liquid for $2.50 and one for $6, you know, you add that up over every item and that'll really bring your groceries up. So you do tend to look at these things. You do have to weigh a lot more up. So I'm getting this, people are now like calculating when they're shopping. They're having to put and see, you think about these things and that's what the guides are saying. It just puts a lot more pressure on people because they've got to use more thinking process. Like, life's hard enough, juggling the bills, going to work, sorting out kids, blah, blah, blah. And now everyone's trying to do the really tight, strict budgets around all of this stuff. Like, are we going to have enough fuel this week for the car? Are we going to do this? You know, getting back to the electrical cars, how are you going to pay for that? Like, so I'm getting this image of people with their trolleys and having their like calculators to work out how much this is going to cost. So they get to the checkout, they've got enough money in their card account or whatever. Now the cash is disappearing. So I'm getting that visual of people with their trolleys just really being, I suppose miserly is probably the word because they have no choice anymore. Hang on a minute. Oh God, they're giving me that ABBA song again. So sad, isn't it? That song, Money, Money, Money. Always sunny in a rich man's world. Oh, I'm going to leave you with that song today. I think it's really appropriate because we know exactly where this is heading. Money, money, money. That's how these leaders are all thinking. They're all rubbing their hands together, climbing the ladder. Money, money, money. It's so sad, isn't it? ABBA. How great were ABBA, guys? Talk about a flashback there. All right, I'm going to leave you with that song today. I hope that's enough information for you guys. Don't forget to comment down below. Let me know the names for my book, or our book, rather, moving forward, and also for the people waking up, the sleepers, the castaways, whatever you want to call them. It does make my life easier. And now we're the BS detectors in our superhero suits that we can just pull out at any time. So I'm going to leave you with all that. It's a lot of information. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I will say goodbye from Australia, and I will talk to you tomorrow. And hit the like buttons and subscribe. Okay, God, too much. Oh, and I'll bring my thong on. I forgot to bring it. I'll do that tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Butt floss. Oh my God, I'm still laughing at that. All right, bye, everybody. Bye.